I'm not sure whether you
can you hear me, Sanjeev?
Arnab,
can you hear me, Sanjeev? 1 minute.
The very bench of the Supreme Court.
Yatin, 1 minute. 1 minute. We lost the audio link there. I want to get Kamini Jaiswal into this. 1 minute. She wanted to make a point there. I'm coming straight to you, yes, ma'am, right now. That on this issue, it's a very grave offence, isn't it? Now, Kamini Jaiswal, Meenakshi Lekhi says it's not anyone who got access to the mails, it's the Additional Advocate General of the state. But the Additional Advocate General of the state is investigating somebody who is under scrutiny themselves, isn't it?
No, but the additional, as an advocate of the accused, I can get access to all the material.
Let her respond.
No, I'm not able to talk here. I'm giving up.
Please continue, Ms. Jaiswal. Yeah.
The Additional Advocate General of the state was permitted to take the documents, but it was a very secret document, and there were express conditions that these documents will not be revealed to anybody. Even the petitioners did not have access to these documents. Then how were these documents circulated?
Absolutely.
Been doing is clear contempt of the Supreme Court. They have been subverting the course of justice, and they have committed contempt of the bench and the Supreme Court, which is dealing with these matters.
Okay. Now I'm coming back to
God. The court takes notice of it.
I'm coming back. Please stay. 1 minute, sir. 1 minute, sir. Let me ask a question to Sanjeev. I'll come back to you because he's the subject matter of all this debate. Sanjeev, I want you to answer this question. I asked you before.
Yeah, please.
Aspersions have been cast on your personal credibility and integrity. You have been accused of accepting material items and gifts from Congress leaders, of accepting quote-unquote packets from them, of keeping in touch with them, and you have been accused on this show while you were away of maintaining contacts that are in clear contravention of service rules for a serving police officer to have. In short, you have been accused of being a political pawn. Sanjeev, I want your response first, and then I'll get the others in.
I have not maintained any contact which is in contravention of the service rules. As I explained to you earlier, my obtaining a BlackBerry on loan for establishing a secure channel of communication with a person who wanted to communicate with me, the person in question being a constitutional authority like the head of opposition of a house. In any democracy, the leader of opposition has a very important role to play. Now, if I have to establish a channel of communication where he wants to communicate with me and sends me a BlackBerry on loan, I don't see anything wrong in that in Gujarat 2000.
But he benefits.
Where no communication is safe.
No, but he benefits.
There is no benefit, Arnab. His communication benefit is me and you, or me and my dear friend Yatin Oza communicating is that benefit. There have been occasions in the past where myself and Mr. Oza have been required to communicate in sheer confidence. Even he is aware of that. We have had to establish communication channels.
And I haven't divulged
very secure channels.
Anything out of that.
Right, exactly. So see, these are occasions where we have to communicate with people in strict confidence.
No, but you
have to honor.
You are in a no, 1 second. I have one more question for Sanjeev. Sanjeev, I have one more question for you. Sanjeev, please consider this very calmly and very coldly. You see, you are not unaware that this is not happening in a political vacuum. This is happening in a very political environment, where your subject is a politician with national ambitions, whose ambitions get stymied if this particular case goes a certain way. And therefore, if you are communicating on secure lines, seeking BlackBerries from his political rivals, you can be accused of knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously, wittingly or unwittingly, becoming a political pawn in a larger game. I'm sure you are fully aware of the environment in which you're operating.
Arnab, everything I've done very consciously. I'm fully conscious about my actions. I own up each and every one of my actions, including the act of accepting a BlackBerry on loan for communicating with Shakti Singh Gohil, and I see nothing wrong in it. And given the issue, given the scale of the issue, given the questions involved in the Gujarat carnage of 2002 and the ongoing cover-up operations, it is but natural for political parties to get involved.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Are we're trying to say that this is an issue where
I'm taking responses?
Involved?
No, I'm taking responses. I'm taking responses. Sanjeev, because I'm running short of time, I want to give equal opportunity.
He's an honorable member and leader of opposition. What about his numerous conversations with Arjun Bhai Motwadia, numerous conversations with other Congress leaders, And also,
there is no conversation with Arjun Wadhwani.
Communication between so-called activists saying how to put pressure on Supreme Court judges, how to put pressure on amicus. Arnab, I will send you entire set tomorrow. You study yourself, and you will find that communications are to the effect how media is to be pressurized to bring pressure on honorable the judges of the Supreme Court, how media is to be managed, and how the pressure is to be brought on amicus curiae appointed by the Supreme Court. This is not
Arnab, just a question. Arnab,
okay. That was the pious purpose. Arnab, I will send you entire communication.
Sure. No, one second.
On your own.
I look forward to that. I look forward to your communication. Yes.
I mean, how is it that they seem to know so much about
you judge yourself, Arnab.
Is it legal for any government to go tapping any officer's phone? I mean, under what basis? Who approved it? I mean, if he's saying all that, isn't it an illegal act of the government to tap somebody's phone and say that this is his transcript? But why were you tapping his phone?
No, it's
what
not
was the
phone,
basis of tapping his phone?
It's not phone tapping.
Did you have a proper legal? There is no, the government of India. If you're saying the transcript is there,
it has come in,
the Supreme Court has come with very strict guidelines.
It has come
in. So how did you tap his phone? On what basis? And somebody should be answerable on that.
I have not tapped. I have nobody to tap his phone. Nobody has tapped his phone, but this has appeared
who is
in a
doing
vernacular.
No, then how do you know the transcription? How do you know the conversation?
That vernacular.
No.
That vernacular.
I mean, it's ridiculous, Arnab, that how do you know the conversation? How are you quoting those conversations? In fact, it's another issue which you should go after the Gujarat government, that on what basis are you tapping the phone? Why are you observing somebody's phone?
Nobody is tapping the phone.
And how can you do it? And who gave that authority for somebody to tap?
Nobody is tapping.
I mean, that amounts to gross violation of the law, and there is a clear-cut Supreme Court direction on tapping the phone. No, I'm amazed that you have all the transcripts.
Newspapers, vernacular newspapers have come out openly with this all transcripts. I have no knowledge of my own. I go by vernacular newspapers. I go by the reports of vernacular newspapers.
No.
Okay, come on. Then vernacular newspaper is not legitimate. You cannot quote a newspaper and then bring it on a program and say that is data. Then if it is quoted on the paper, you cannot say that was a conversation.
That is between Sanjeev and the newspaper.
I think it's ridiculous to bring vernacular papers and then print some newspaper and say that those are evidences.
Right.
So either you have the evidence or you don't have the evidence.
Here's a question.
Here's a point I go. That this is a conversation. I depend on vernacular paper, and now I'm going to hold him guilty.
Okay, well, here's one point.
Arnab, can I?
I'm Meenakshi. One quick point. You want to make a point to Sanjeev? You can go ahead directly because I have 2 minutes to wrap up. Go ahead, Meenakshi.
My point is very simple. I'm not going by any reports. I'm going by the admissions made by Mr. Bhatt himself on your show, where he says he's ready with the consequences because he owes up all the acts that he has done. And as you said, nothing is in political vacuum. Everything is politically maneuvered and manipulated. So in that case, he has to be ready with the consequences, and I think he was prepared when he was asking for packages and BlackBerry. So he's received certain packages and is keeping that up. And plus, the very delay in his coming up with the story in 2009 is itself incredible.
But that is a late realization. I give Sanjeev the last word. Sanjeev, you find yourself tonight.
It's not credit.
Sanjeev, you find yourself tonight in the middle of what could potentially be one of the biggest political rows of 2011. May I ask you, are you prepared for the consequences of not just coming out, filing affidavits, but speaking out tonight?
I don't know. I have said things on oath before the highest forum of this country, before the apex court. Not now. I did it in April 2011. I've done it again. And I know the consequences of lying on oath. I know the consequences of committing perjury. And I also know the consequences of misleading a nation. All of us know who is misleading whom, Arnab. So instead of getting into semantics of packages and whatnot, I can describe the contents of each and every mail.
Let him complete.
What has been brought out may be a part of the mail, so I am prepared to come out with the entire mail transaction. I am a very open person. If Mr. Rosa or Ms. Lekhi wants the interstitial mails, I am prepared to give them.
We will request you to do that.
Absolutely.
I request you. I request you tonight, and only for tonight. I'm seizing the debate only for want of time. I request you all, in fairness, to come back on the News Hour, follow the debate, because our viewers need to know all sides of the story in this ghastly matter. Sanjeev, Meenakshi, Mr. Roza, Ajay, and of course Ms. Jaiswal, thank you very much. This is a matter of national concern and we shall follow it up.